need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Thanks to our decades of experience, we know what your case is worth, and we'll fight to get you every penny you deserve. Consultations are simple and always free, because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, Monty. Good morning to you. Happy Thursday, Leap Day year
and stuff.
And the Monty Ghost is in full effect here in the Monty Show Palatial Studios. We're just waiting for the mixer to play uninvited sound effects, but that's fine. Oh, my goodness. The show, as always, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. You guys, the best injury attorneys in the business. There is no doubt about that. We tell you all the time that, compassion's a huge part of your life. When you've been in a terrible accident, when you've been injured, when somebody runs that light and smashes into your car and maybe your car's totaled. Heavens to Betsy, you're in the hospital. How are you going to pay your mortgage? How are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to pay for anything in that fact? Let the advocates take that weight off of you. See, they know exactly what to do because there's no situation they have not experienced. With decades of experience, the advocates are exactly your best option. No question about it. Injured at work, the workman's comp experts at the Advocates can take care of you, and it won't cost you a dime to talk to an attorney live online, theadvocates.com. Theadvocates.com. Good morning. We are on Donnie Russian Hacker Watch. Only in America. The Russian hackers say in 45 minutes from right now, they're going to release the Donnie documents because apparently some Russian hackers stole some Donnie stuff off of the government website in Georgia related to his trial, and they're threatening to release them if they're not paid a ransom. And all parties involved have said, yeah, we're not paying you guys a penny. And so the hackers are like, all right, 8:49 Eastern on Thursday, Leap Day, we're going to release the documents on Donnie.
Hey, Donnie.
We'll see what happens. So we're on Donnie Watch this morning.
Yes.
This is a crazy. What world do we live in?
I don't know, dude.
That we're like, okay, Donnie Watch.
Yeah, Donnie.
We have a lot to get to this morning. Shout out to a couple of our long times. Pete Forte, a member of the show for 3 months.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, Pete. Appreciate you. Dursky, Dursky. It's time for Sports on the Fives morning, y'all. He's been a member of the show for 6 months.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go, Illumidursky. Good to see you. Good to see all of you this morning. Thanks for being here. And we have new details on the proposed college football playoff that would expand to 14 teams. And I think this is a very bad idea. Listen, I'm all down for 14. Personally, why not go to 16? But hey, it is what it is, right? We're talking about going to 14 teams where the Big Ten and the SEC would each get 3 automatic qualifiers. The ACC and the Big 12 would each get 2 automatic qualifiers. You'd have 1 spot for the G5, 3 spots for the at-large. I think this is a terrible idea. I think it limits access to the national championship of college football. I think it pushes out the common fan. It really puts the emphasis and the onus on the blue bloods. Jake, I just don't think this is about reach for all and giving everybody a chance to win a national championship.
And to that end, I say, of course not. Of course it's not, right? Like, it's never been. I think, like, so on one hand, we've been saying for years, say the SEC and the Big Ten have dominated the college football playoff, and it's basically been them and everybody else. But then when the SEC and the Big Ten want more automatic qualifiers, we're like, man, we're really limiting access. And it's like, well, we can't really have it both ways, right? So if we're going to allow the SEC and the Big Ten to dominate this thing the way they have, up until this point, we can't really be surprised that they're asking for more automatic qualifiers. And I think I agree. Like, yeah, if you're going to go 3-3 out of each of these conferences, of course it limits access. Of course it makes it so that, we're not going to get the one-off year where, 4 Big 12 teams are in the college football playoff. That's not what they want. They want SEC and Big 10 competing and playing a lot of football against each other when it matters most. And so, yeah, I understand why these two conferences want this setup, but I'm inclined to agree. I'm not sure that this is great for college football. I think what's great for college football is making sure every conference is represented with one automatic qualifier. And then from there, you go at large bids. That's what I think is best for college football, because at that point, then it's just about, hey, go out and win your games, right? Go out and compete. Go out and like, hey, if you win your conference, you're automatically in.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that is what is good for college football. But the idea that we want to be like, hey, these two get this many, then the Big 12 and the ACC get 2, like, it just feels too scripted and too structured to me.
I don't have any issue with 14 teams. I don't have any issue with 16 teams. I think a broader reach is great. The issue, I think, becomes that you are only expanding to make more money for the biggest brands in college football. And I think that's a mistake. There is always going to be unintended consequences. And when you are handing the cash to all the biggest programs, I don't see how that's going to end well. And that's exactly what this 14-team expansion is all about. You're going to have 2 years here at 12, 24, 25, 25, 26 for the next 2 years. This will take effect in the 2026 football season. So you're going to get 2 years at 12. I think you should have waited. This feels premature to me. Why not wait, at least go through 1 year at 12 to understand how does that impact fans? How does that impact revenue? How does that impact? Because ultimately, as much as I sit here and tell you fans don't matter, we need to understand, are more viewers coming to a 12-team college football playoff? Is there better TV money? Is there better ad dollars? Is there better, multi-platform reach? Like, we need to understand all this stuff before we just leap into a 14-team expansion, where most of that new money is going to the Big 10 and the SEC, when we have no idea what that new money looks like. You have right now, if you expand to 14 and you give the Big 10 and the SEC 3 spots each, you have no idea what you truly are giving them. You don't know how much money that's going to give them. You have no idea how that's going to impact TV viewership. And I think people just automatically assume, well, Monty, it's the Big 10 and the SEC. More people will watch. I don't think that's the case at all. I think you are alienating the garden variety college football fan.
Well, and I think if you consider the fact that if it's, let's say it's like somehow, some way, one of the 3 AQs out of the Big 10 is like, is Rutgers. Not that that's going to happen, but let's just say it was some, mid-level brand that didn't have a huge following that somehow just popped off for a great year. Is that really going to draw the heat that Oregon and Georgia is going to draw, let's say, or whatever the case might be? And that's what I think the maybe the unintended consequences of this could potentially be, because I have to think at some point you're going to have brands get into this thing on the AQs where we're not so big on those certain brands. I mean, if Ole Miss ever decides to get over the hump, let's say, and get into the college football playoff, is Ole Miss and Penn State really one where you're like, man, that's a barn burner?
I think that could happen no matter what. But what I think is a greater risk here is that every single year it is Ohio State and Georgia. I think that's the far more likely outcome, that because all you're doing is galvanizing these top programs. All you're doing is pushing down the G5. All you're doing is telling the Boise States, telling the Fresno States, telling the small school, we don't want you here. We're going to give you one slot. And, well, listen, man, you look at this, there's going to be, the three other spots that you can qualify for. No chance in the world. Those 3 bids to the remaining highest ranking teams, who do you think are going to get those? Well, Notre Dame's getting one of them. So now there's only 2 spots left. Who do you think is going to get those? Do you really think Fresno State is going to get those?
No.
That's not going to happen. I think you're looking at influencing the AP, which is already, I think, a complete fraud. I think the AP poll is a complete joke. I think you are looking at a situation where we haven't even touched controversy in the history of the college football playoff with how this is setting up. And again, why are you making a policy decision for something that's not going to happen for several years?
Right.
That's the biggest part of this. Go through the 12-team playoff the next year or two, and then make a decision on if you want to expand and how those AQs are going to happen.
Well, and I think that the other thing here is like you're taking the emphasis off winning your conference, right? Like having multiple AQs out of each conference, you're basically saying, okay, now you just got to be a top 3 team in your conference, right? Now you just got to be one of the 3 highest teams in your conference. And I think that's the other part of this I don't love, because remember what everyone said in the Florida State situation. Oh, well, it should just be all about what happens between the white lines, and winning is all that matters. But apparently now winning is not all that matters, because we're taking the emphasis off winning the conference.
And my question is, if we are, because I told you last week, we had heard that 16 was something that was being talked about. But now I think most people in college football outside of the Big Ten and the SEC don't want 16, because if you go to 16, what do you think is going to happen? Well, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to get 4 auto bids. That's the only common sense. Do you really think the Big Ten and the SEC are going to want to expand to 16 if they don't get anything out of that? No, they're not going to do that. And I just think this is where the flaws begin.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the flaws begin, because it's no longer about like the spin is this is all about what you do on the field. It's not. It's all about what the Big Ten and the SEC do on the field. And it's all about, to a much lesser extent, what the Big 12 does on the field. That's all this is.
100%.
And if you're in the ACC right now, how pissed are you? Because you're only going to get an automatic bid for Clemson and Florida State, and maybe not Clemson anymore. Because I don't know what good old NIL program guy is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think this is so constricting to 99% of college football fans.
And to me, when I first saw it, I just felt like, man, this like kind of goes against the spirit of like what college football is about. Like college football. And I know we're getting away from, the good old days in college athletics, and there's a lot of things changing. And like, I totally get all that. But like, I feel like it really, like one of my favorite things about the OG college football playoff, just the 4-teamer, was that there was a lot of drama. There was like, hey, we didn't get in because of this or because of that, or and you've got, people going on ESPN describing why the committee didn't put you in. Like that's part of what made the 4-team playoff so good. So to me, in an expanded format, I don't know why we thought it would be a good idea to go away from single AQs, other than, hey, you just wanted to make more money, because that's all it is. It's just, hey, we want to make more money. It's not like, hey, spirit of competition. Hey, let's let the committee decide, hey, go out and win all your games and let's see if you still don't get in type thing. Like that's what I really struggle with in this expanded format. Because I agree, we're going to wind up having the same thing we've had for how long, which is Ohio State and someone from the SEC, or Oregon and someone from the SEC. So for me, I don't love this, and I think if I'm a G5, like you're obviously still pretty salty about this, because you still just have one opportunity.
Oh, I think that's exactly right. I think the G5 in this scenario is taking a beating. I mean, and listen, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I don't think there's any doubt if Notre Dame's ranked in the top 14, they're getting in. So you have 2 spots. And again, I'm just telling you, you look at Ward Manuel sitting on top of the college football playoff committee. The Big Ten is in control because they have the money. They have the chairman. Like this to me sets up for the Big Ten and the SEC to get 4 or 5 teams each in. And I think it is a very bad way to do business.
Yeah.
It is, I think you're going to have big TV audiences. I don't think there's any doubt about that. That does not mean the game of college football will expand. That does not mean the financial windfall will expand. I think for truly the game of college football to grow and prosper, you need access for the G5. I think it is the only way, because I just look at the bottom feeders in expansion. The bottom half of the Big Ten does not have access to the college football playoff. The bottom half of the SEC, Vanderbilt's never going to the college football playoff, and nor should they. But the bottom half of the SEC does not have access to the college football playoff.
Right.
This truly is a ticket for the Blue Bloods, for the Michigan, the Ohio State, the USC, and the Oregon, to make sure every single year that they are in the college football playoff. And if they are not, it's because they are not good enough on the field. Okay, I get that. But you look at what's going on in the ACC. The ACC, it's going to be Florida State as long as they're there. Because, again, I heard yesterday that they're talking about buyouts and they're trying to raise the capital to buy themselves out of the ACC. And they're struggling to do that in Tallahassee. So that may not be the easiest route that everybody thought it would be. But if it's Florida State and they're still in the ACC, it's going to be Florida State and somebody. And I don't believe that it's Clemson as a rubber stamp anymore, but let's say it's Clemson and Florida State. Who else in that conference is even getting a sniff?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're the Big 12, who in the Big 12, if you only get 2 spots?
Well, it should be Utah and somebody else.
I would assume. But are you telling me that of the 2 remaining at-large bids, that we should believe TCU, that we should believe Texas Tech is going to get in every year? Is Texas Tech a top 14 college football program every single year? They're not. They're not. BYU is going to have an incredibly difficult time getting into the college football playoff. Because now the other part of this is recruiting.
Yeah.
Do you really think that Jimmy, the All-American in the G5, do you really think that he's going to go to a bottom half SEC team? I think the low water mark is Lane Train in the SIP.
Yeah.
Why you're not going to? Are you going to Mississippi State?
Well, no, and I think the other thing that
You're not going to Mississippi State,
dude. If you think about your point about recruiting, and then what have we been hearing about scheduling wise out of these conferences? Hey, we're going to play more conference games.
9 games in the SEC.
We're going to play 9 in the SEC. So why does that matter? Well, that matters because, again, the token Appalachian State versus an SEC team game.
Appy State, please.
Appy State game is
going to the
away.
Big House and beating Michigan.
Right.
I think those pay games are in trouble.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see far fewer of those. Hey, here's $5 million bucks. Come play Texas.
Because again, if you're in the SEC or the Big Ten or any of these any of the Power 4 conferences, you have to have a super strong schedule. So you have to be able to say, dude, we got our 9 conference game, which are obviously all Power 4 games, of course. But then, hey, what is your non-con schedule looking like? And were those Power Conference games? So can you get on your schedule, the Notre Dames, can we get a quality Big 12 opponent on our schedule? Like,
I wonder, and I said this the other week, and I think people blew me off, but I wonder if part of this 14-team thing is if you say, okay, well, we'll give you guys each 3 teams, but you're not allowed to get an at-large bid. Are you telling me that we talked about that the other day or the other week, I guess now. It all runs together at this point. But I think that there's no way the Big Ten and the SEC are going to allow that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be, that's a fair trade, but I agree. They're never going to let that
happen. They're not going to let that
happen.
happen.
They're not going to let that happen. I mean,
no chance.
Again, their whole mission, like, again, in the SEC, your whole mission is to get 5 teams in. You're saying, okay, we get 3 AQs. Who are the other 2 that we can get in to control this thing?
Does this feel good as a college football fan?
No, I think it feels like this is the first step to 2 super conferences, and we're just trying to be cute about it. That's what this feels like.
I think this does a couple of things. I think if you're going to expand, and if we're going to have what's the ACC meltdown, let's say.
Yeah.
I think you're going to start to see 20, 22, 24 team conferences. I think you're going to see that you're just going to write off Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Virginia. They're not. You're not getting into the college football playoff.
No.
And maybe you just have this one-off where you go crazy and one-off Virginia wins the ACC somehow. Well,
Right.
the ACC melted down and they got into the SEC. They're dead. Forget it. If you put Virginia in the SEC, how are they any different than Texas would pound Virginia.
Yeah, that wouldn't even be a conversation.
Texas A&M would pound Virginia.
Well, but I think Virginia's a great example, though, like, too, when we talk about, like, alignment and what conference you're in and, like, the bigger picture setup. Virginia is obviously a really good basketball brand, right? They are a tournament team on the regular. Like, so I think that's where my mind is at with this. Like, I'm not just simply thinking about, okay, well, automatic qualifiers and, okay, cool, different format. I'm thinking about, okay, well, how does this impact scheduling? How is this going to impact the future of less the Big 12, but much more the ACC? Because I feel like we've been talking about the Big 12 being in a really, really strong position to kind of follow the Big 10 and the SEC.
And I think they are.
And in that way, they're going to survive for quite some time because they're going to play nice in the sandbox. But the ACC, really to no fault of their own at a conference level, feels like a conference that is just going downhill. You know, not even just a Florida State thing. Like, you're not good in football, man. Like, you know, Florida State's really the only one that's even in the conversation. And I can make a strong case that they have no business being on the same football field as Georgia or Alabama or really any of the heavy hitters in college football, that they're still a second cut below, you know, the like Michigan last year or Ohio State or hell, even Oregon. I'd love to see Oregon versus Florida State because I think Oregon would mash them, but that's just my opinion. So my point just is that if the Big 12 is going to be this play nice in the sandbox conference and follow along with the Big 10 and the SEC, what of the ACC when it eventually breaks up? Because I do think that that's an eventuality, but I don't know that happens soon. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, hey, you know, everyone wants to talk about Notre Dame and the ACC and what's Notre Dame going to do. Notre Dame's going to be just fine because Notre Dame is an asset to all of the big boys in college football because, again, you're going to play 9 conference games and you're going to put Notre Dame on the schedule for a 10th Power 4 game, and you're going to be in a really strong spot. So I don't even care about where Notre Dame's going because they're going to be fine. I mean, to your point, dude, if they're top 14, they're in. It's a rubber stamp, dude.
And so I go back to this idea that, oh, well, the at-large bids, that's where we, that helps the G5. No, it doesn't. I'm telling you, nothing that the College Football Playoff Committee is doing, ultimately, every decision that's been made, whether it's expanding to 14, whether it is TV deals, you name it. What move has the College Football Playoff Committee made to solidify the G5's access to a national championship?
I don't think there's been a single one, man.
To codify their access to a national championship. Nothing. Not a single one.
Yeah, it almost feels like the Cinderella stuff is reserved for the basketball tournament.
The Cinderella, you know what the Cinderella stuff is? It's this cute little dream that's out in the ethos. And oh man, the G5 right here in my heart. Not in the college football playoff, but right here in my heart. Fuck them. They're not taking my spot. No. We got to get the SIP lane train. Yeah, I mean, we have got to. We have got to find a way to make sure that Pedo State gets in every year. I mean, the G5 is right here in my heart.
Excellent strategy, sir.
And their money's in my pocket. That's what this is.
Yeah.
This is playing on the dream. I want Boise State. Statue of Liberty. Get on a knee and propose to Yahoo. Those days are dead. Why do Anybody want to guess why the BCS went away? Anybody want to guess why they're expanding the college football playoff? Why did we originally go to 12? Why are we going to 14? Why are we eventually probably going to be at 20? Well, because the Blue Bloods are going to make more money. Oh, but Monty, that's going to be good for the G. It's nothing that they do is good for the G5. And listen, maybe I am just jaded old fat Mormon Monty. You know, I was supposed to be dead when I was 50. Too late. Sorry to disappoint you, sir. I don't believe that they're trying to protect the G5.
No, they have no incentive. Again, every step you're taking right now is another step in the direction of a tiered college football playoff system. Because I agree, they're going to keep expanding and keep expanding. And maybe, I don't know, just a thought, maybe the God tier is developed unofficially through the college football playoff. Ever think of that? Hey, maybe we don't even need to create a God tier. We're already in control. We're already pushing the narrative forward. So if in 2026 or sooner, whatever, we get to 16 teams, we get to 18, 20, you know, we get fully expanded. There's 6 SEC, 6 Big Ten, and then another 2 that get in for the at-large bids. You're already playing God tier football, man. There's no stopping them. Who's going to do anything about it?
Which is, again, why I tell you when you hear all this nonsense about, oh, North Carolina's going to the Big 12, Monty. They're not. So let me get this right. And this is where basketball comes in, because I think 2 things are going to matter over the next 2 years. You better have people watching your football games.
Mm-hmm.
Your TV ratings had better be
gas
to the moon, Alice. Right? You had better, because there's no more. We saw what happened to those idiots in the Pac-12. Like, we saw George Kliavkoff over there make just an absolute mockery of that. I think
calculations.
One of the worst administrations we've ever seen, and we've seen some bad ones in college sports, right? You look at what happened to the Pac-12, and you don't think that can happen again? I think it can very much happen again.
I think it will happen again.
And I think if you don't understand the importance of putting eyes on your TV screen, and what Jake always says, you better win football games. You better prioritize winning football games, because how lucky, and the word is lucky, how lucky is UCLA to have gotten into the Big Ten?
Very.
Because is there any reason that shouldn't have been Calford UCLA over there in the old ACC?
Or for that matter, with all due respect to UCLA, they could be on the outside looking in. I mean,
the Pac-3?
Yeah.
Are you serious right now?
There with no affiliation.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that is the ultimate gravy train right now, because you had better put people on TV. And I think the model program in this situation is Utah. Oh, Monty, you're just a Ute homer. Whatever you want to say. Why is Utah in the Big 12? They win games. Why is Utah in the Big 12? People travel to their games. They buy tickets, hot dogs, corn dogs, and beer. Why is Utah in the Big 12? Because people watch them on TV.
Mm-hmm.
They play in big games. They win big games.
They
beat big opponents.
Brett Yormark wants to move west.
I'm telling you, you can make that. You can look up and down. And for my BYU friends, and what's really scary, and we'll talk to Jake Retzloff about this an hour from now. What's really scary is I think it is you have no room for error. If you are Houston football,
mm-hmm.
You have no room for error if you are Cincinnati, if you are UCF, if you are BYU.
But I think a lot of these teams, a lot of these programs are playing a role. Like I would love to sit here and tell you that BYU has a chance to get in the college football playoff anytime soon. But to do that, you're going to have to go undefeated and do it in dominant fashion, just the way they do it in the SEC. So most years, the higher percentage, whether it's BYU or Texas Tech or anybody else, it's not unique to BYU. It's any of these schools that are not the top dog SEC Big Ten team. You're playing a role. UCLA. The only reason UCLA has value, and the only reason that they were truly, at the end of the day, able to get into the Big Ten on the tails of USC, is because UCLA is a power program on paper that checks a box on your schedule. And you could say, hey, yeah, man, in week 6, like we dropped 50 on UCLA. And people will say, oh, well,
Man.
you were never going to lose to UCLA, but putting 50 on UCLA is pretty good. That's pretty solid, right? Like that's the role that these programs play. And I hate saying that because it paints the kids in a light of, hey, they're just out here playing football games so they can get beat up on. But I feel like that's what it is now. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about giving the big boys all this extra access. And it is a lot of extra access, right? 2 more spots a year that are automatically are chiseled out for you. That's way more access. Whether you were going to get those at large or not is a different conversation. I'm just saying, man, like I'm telling you, dude, we're heading towards God tier, 3-tiered football, and it doesn't have to be official. It's how they operate. It's very much a, hey, this is how we do business type thing, man.
And I'll go back again and say, if you're on the line, and if you're BYU, if you are UCF, if you are Houston, if you are any of the lesser teams in any of these conferences, not the Big Ten and the SEC, and let's say that somehow Vandy wins 10 games and BYU wins 10 games, I would think BYU gets in over Vandy. Okay, great. If Mississippi State wins 10 games and BYU wins 10 games and there's one spot in the college football playoff, who's getting in? You think the committee's taking BYU over Texas A&M? You think the committee's taking BYU over Petto State? Over Michigan State? What about a Purdue? If Purdue somehow is 10-11 win Purdue, they're getting in. They're getting in. And these seats on the college football playoff committee, people don't take them seriously. You should take them seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolute. Ward Manuel, one of the worst athletic directors, in my opinion, in this country right now, is sitting on top of the college football playoff committee. You think that's any good for the Big Ten? It's wild to me. So if you're average university and you are not known as a traditional powerhouse, and there's no way to make the argument. If you're Arizona State, are you getting in over Penn State?
No.
There's not a chance in the
I knew
world.
today would be shitty.
Are you telling me that Arizona is getting in over Michigan State if they're both equal? They're not.
Colorado.
But that's different. See, and I think that's different because I think that's where the prime effect comes in.
Mm-hmm.
If Colorado and Michigan State, if Colorado and Petto State, if Colorado and Mississippi State are on the line and they're even, I think Deion Sanders has a chance to get that nod.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe Deion will get the nod there.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, I think that you have to give credit where credit's due, not just to Deion, but I think to Colorado and the leadership there for having vision, right? You understood, like I remember, and I'm sure you guys remember, when Colorado did the whole thing where they left Pac-12 Media Day early and they didn't really do any interviews and they kind of sent a message and, and then they left. There was a lot of criticism for that.
A lot.
Like, what are you doing, man? You betrayed us. Like, what the hell? Like that was kind of the sentiment. And now how's it worked out for him? And I'm telling you, and I know, and I'm not really interested in people saying that Deion sucks or he's terrible. What I'm here to tell you is it doesn't matter what you think of Deion, that program's moving forward. And all Deion has to do, and all programs like Colorado at that level have to do, is just go out and be a 10-win football team. That's what you have to do. That's the ask. That's what you have to achieve to be in the conversation.
It makes you curious. Are Texas and Oklahoma in a better place in the SEC than they were in the Big 12?
I think Oklahoma's not. I think Texas is.
It's a very interesting conundrum.
I think that Oklahoma losing Dylan Gabriel is a different program. And we don't know what that looks like. You could be a bottom feeder. You could be a top feeder. I don't know what you look like right now. So potentially, but I think right now where we sit right here in this moment on the show, yeah, it's better for Texas because I have no doubt Texas can hang with the big boys in the SEC to a large enough extent to get in on an automatic qualifier.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting time in college football, and I am not convinced that this setup is good for, TCU. Is TCU traditionally going to get into a 14-team playoff?
Not traditionally. They've shown the ability, but not traditionally.
Occasionally they can get in.
Yeah.
I think that's very true. You look
I also
at
think the seeding portion of this is important too. If you think about that, like, okay, cool, you're getting automatic qualifiers, but just because you were the third AQ in the Big Ten doesn't mean you got the third spot in the college football playoff. Like, that's what I think the playoff and the ESPN side of this conversation really finds attractive about this. Hey, if we can guarantee we got 6 teams from these 2 conferences, look at the matchmaking we can do. Look at how we can say, okay, well, hey, maybe like this past year's Alabama situation. Alabama loses to Texas early in the season. They come back, they find their way. Okay, well, what's an early round college football playoff matchup that we can give Alabama that's really compelling? Because we want to stoke the fire of the Alabama hater, and we want the Alabama supporter to say, I told you so when they win that ball game.
I agree. Prize Picks, the daily fantasy partner of the Monty Show. Damn it, Caitlin Clark, you did me dirty. You did me dirty last night. 50.5 was the over-under. She put up 55.
Damn.
Unbelievable performance out of Caitlin Clark, who is now unquestionably the all-time leading scorer by any measure in women's college basketball. Congratulations to Caitlin Clark. I love Prize Picks. I am so stoked baseball's back. Major League Baseball on Prize Picks, combined with, we're going to get about 4 months of Major League Baseball and NBA on Prize Picks. And it is, I'm telling you, golf is interesting as well. The Cognizant.
Yeah.
The old Honda Classic tees off today. But I love daily fantasy. And on Prize Picks, they make it so easy because all you have to do is pick more or less. How about LeBron James, who we're going to talk about coming up here in 20 minutes? LeBron last night scoring 19 points.
Torching
in the fourth quarter in the final Clipper-Laker game as co-tenants at Crypto.com Arena. Was an amazing performance last night out of LeBron. I didn't pick him because I'm dumb. But the best thing about daily fantasy tomorrow, which is today, is a brand new day.
It's a new day, baby.
That's right. PrizePicks.com. Download the PrizePicks app. Use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty, to get 100% deposit matching up to $100. And trust me when I say deposit $10, you can play for a month because they'll give you $10 more. You put in 10, you get 20. You put in 20, you get 40, 50, and 100. It's that simple at prizepicks.com. Use the promo code Monty to get 100% deposit matching. Now we're only, 10 minutes away now.
Yeah.
From
watch.
the Donnie Dump.
Yes.
These hackers that hacked the website of the government in Georgia, the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
And were able to gain access to Donald Trump's legal documents.
Mm-hmm.
And they claim they have documents and evidence that is a game changer for the election.
What is this, Jason Bourne?
They
Jesus.
were holding that information hostage. The state of Georgia refused to negotiate. And all of a sudden, they said, okay, well, at 8:49 Eastern on February 29th, Leap Day, we're going to release the documents unless you pay up. Nobody paid up. So we're just 9 minutes away now.
Let's go.
9 minutes away.
Release the documents, sir.
I'm not somebody that believes that hackers generally tell the truth. I think they have the documents. I don't think they're game changers for the election, but we'll find out in 9 minutes,
we'll
right?
see.
Pete Forte for $5 says the availability of more at-large bids helps G5 recruiting. Well, the dream that was Rome, right? Like the dream that was Rome. That's not anything more than a pipe dream, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I look at the G5, Pete, and I say to myself, that's cool. You can sell that. Go get your 3-star quarterback at North Dakota State.
Well, and look, Pete's a San Diego State guy. So, like,
well,
San Diego State's, again,
you're a basketball school.
You're a basketball school, and you have no business talking about the college football playoff, with all due respect, man.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because you should have got the pro rata you deserved, right? I mean,
see, I was trying to avoid it. I was trying to avoid it and be nice, but you're right. You're right. By the way,
man, that was a disaster.
Where are all the hard asses at San Diego State's administrative office? Haven't heard from you in a while.
Which is good. I listen, San Diego State
I'm not
fan.
sure for them it is, dude. The narrative about San Diego State is you made a fool about yourself in the Pac-12 situation. You got into the tournament. You did great things last year. And now all of a sudden, you're just very quiet. There's nothing happening.
San Diego State fan deserves an administration that doesn't talk.
Agreed.
This current administration, because San Diego State fan's amazing. I know a ton of people that are Wales Regina supporters, and I'm telling you now, San Diego State fan deserves better.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that magical run of the Final Four last year was amazing. And you need to do it again, because I think the G5, I think it's very limiting. This 14-team playoff is very limiting to brands like San Diego State. Pete also gives us 10 Monty Show memberships.
Okay.
Way to go, Pete. Appreciate you very much. Thank you very much. Let's see. Good morning, crew, Mad Cat says.
Dude.
Dude. Noel Ramirez, I think Oklahoma doesn't leave if the format existed back then. I think it's very interesting. I think it's a very interesting conundrum. I think you're right. Texas will compete at the top of any conference they're in, God tier or not.
Yeah.
I think you are missing Lincoln. I think you are missing Bob Stoops. You're missing what Oklahoma used to be. And Brett Venables has to get that together. And I think he was much better last year. But when you're doing it through the portal, it makes it more difficult. Now, being in the SEC should help you rebuild the program.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a very long road for this incarnation of Sooner Nation to get to the college football playoff. I think it's very difficult. It is shocking that a quarterback would transfer to Oregon out of Oklahoma. I still think that is a huge, huge question in my mind. Huge question. Mike Smith, Utah married lot lizard leader from the truck stop conference. Hey, man, better to be married than single, isn't it, Jake?
Yeah.
Big Daddy Magic. Hey, playa, Utah should hire Cindy Crawford, B-Team Goodwill ambassador. Cindy Crawford's hot.
Big Daddy Magic, the heavyset one with the big gun with the sweet tongue.
Hey, man, she's almost 60 years old, and she is still a smoke show. Eric Wasikowski, truck stop conference got UNC confused with NC State. UNC would never lower themselves to that conference. Well, I don't think there is a lower themselves to that conference. And you're a fan of Michigan, and you're talking about lowering yourself.
Come on, guy.
You're already that, like, maybe you need a day off, dude. Mike Smith, UNC trying to put it out there that UNC and NC State are a package deal. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think NC State voted separately from UNC with ACC expansion. And I think, at least we were told back then, and if you go back on the channel and watch, like, that caused a significant fracture in the relationship between Carolina and Carolina State.
Yeah.
And I think NC State really damaged themselves. And I think that North Carolina aligned themselves with Florida State, who I think very much I don't know how much influence Florida State has anymore. I don't. It seems like this conversation comes up more often than it probably should, because you would think Florida State's, they're a blue blood. I don't know that they are.
Yeah.
I don't know that they are. And they've gone absolutely nowhere, and now they're locked in a really expensive court fight with the ACC.
Yeah, I think they were the new kid on the block in terms of winning in the modern day, and they tried to be a bully, and that didn't really work out for them. So now they're sitting here with their hands tied and not much to do about it.
And I think that North Carolina is going to have its pick, because the SEC very clearly, I don't think Greg Sankey's made it a question. They would add North Carolina today if they could. The problem is, I think North Carolina wants a Big Ten, because I think they know they're a better fit in that conference.
Yeah.
And I think they want academic alignment because, and I know everybody loses their shit when I say this, but academics still matter at North Carolina. They care very much. And again, talking about Michigan, this is the big conundrum at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the academias at Michigan feel like they sold out their ethics and morals for Jim Harbaugh. And I think it is a significant issue in Ann Arbor. And I think it's one that North Carolina is not going to play with. North Carolina, if North Carolina and that group in Chapel Hill is anything, they are very self-aware. They know that athletically, they are not on par with their academics, and the academics will always be number one. It's the same thing with Duke. And I do think, and this was another argument we had last fall, I do think Duke and Carolina are a package deal. And I think they would both end up in the Big Ten. If they had their druthers and they had their ways, North Carolina and Duke could go to the Big Ten. Because I think they know that continues to give them a really good pathway to the top of the college basketball world. And the money's better and the football's better. And I think North Carolina wants to win football games.
Yeah.
I don't think Duke cares if they ever win another football game. They don't. I think they want to put out doctors, and I think what is Duke? A house of learned doctors. I think they want to put out doctors, and I think they want to put out basketball players. Yeah. And to do that, I think you need to join the Big Ten. And I think they will. I think they will. If they could, they would. Bryce Martin, good to see you, my friend. So it's not if the Big 12 will lose teams, but when and who will go. I think it's a very interesting question.
Yeah, but I think the Big 12 is more secure than the ACC. I think the Big 12 is in a position where they
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so I mean, I just don't understand why we're trying to characterize the Big 12 as a conference.
60 seconds to Donnie dump.
Yeah, so real quick before Donnie takes a dump, I don't know why we're trying to characterize the Big 12 as this conference that's about to lose teams. Texas and Oklahoma, to me, were a one-off situation because they were such big brands that they no longer were a fit in the Big 12. But everybody else in the Big 12 is a good fit. Like, again, Tortilla Land needs to learn how to win more football games under Joey, dude. Like at some point, UCF and Houston and these newer programs in the conference need to raise their level, and if that happens, the Big 12 will be fine. I'm really not that worried about them right now.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out. I don't view the Big 12 as vulnerable because I think, and people got, again, offended when I said this, who are the best teams in the Big 12? Who is the best athletic program in the Big 12? It's Utah. And I don't think it's arguable. And you don't have to like Utah, but you have to respect them. In totality, the Utah athletic department is superior to the way they're administered, the way that they handle their finances, the way they are supported. They're superior. Facilities-wise, I would love to see an upgrade. But Rice-Eccles is amazing. Their indoor practice facility is pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their new football center is amazing. Huntsman Center needs some work, but here nor there. You're not going to the SEC at Utah. Utah's not going to the Big Ten.
No.
I think you look at the best teams in the Big 12. Iowa State's got to be included in that. Iowa State's not going to the Big Ten.
No.
K-State. I think K-State. I think Kansas, certainly with what they're doing at Memorial Stadium, and I think certainly with what they're doing in football and basketball, they're not going to the Big Ten. Is Kansas going to the SEC? That doesn't feel like a fit.
No.
There's just not a whole lot. Is Texas Tech going to the SEC? They're not. Who's going to approve that vote?
Nobody.
The Big 12, I think, is solid in the brands that they currently have. Could that change if the ACC falls apart? Okay, sure. I could see that changing. But it is ultimately about desirability. And if you look at top to bottom, the Big 12, there's not a whole lot that needs to be changed. There's not a whole lot of demand for the brands.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in college basketball, okay, we can have a different conversation. Top to bottom, that's the best league in the country. But football is what we're talking. Football is the revenue generator here.
Yes.
So I think the Big 12 is in a very interesting position. I think they're pretty solid. If you're the ACC, I think the SEC would love to have Florida State and Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Big 10 would love to have Carolina and Duke. I do think that there is some demand in the Big 12 to add better basketball programs, but Carolina and Duke aren't going to the Big 12.
Hell no, that ain't a fit.
Right? So now you got to start looking at, okay, well, in the ACC, if we're talking about men's basketball, right? Let's focus on men's basketball. I mean, you're looking at a league that essentially is solid, and you're probably going to have, 6, 7 20-win teams in the ACC this year? But is the Big 12 beating down Syracuse's door? They're not. I still maintain one of the more interesting targets for the Big 12 is Pitt, because you have a natural rival in West Virginia, and Pitt is putting together a much better group of talent in basketball. Pitt makes some sense there. Does Wake Forest make sense for the Big 12? It does not. In my opinion, it does not. Does Virginia? I think Virginia is a very desirable basketball brand. That is a 25-win team just about every single year. Does that make sense for the Big 12? I think it does.
This makes sense for Virginia, though. That's an
another
interesting
question
for them.
That is another question. But you look top to bottom, Louisville's a terrible basketball program right now. They may not win 10 games not in conference. They may not win 10 games the entire season. Louisville's a very interesting, and we talk about TVs, and because I maintain, and you guys probably think I'm an idiot, as most of you already do. I maintain this year you better win games the next 2 years, and you better bring people to the TV set the next 2 years. Because I think you're going to have to print out your resume, Jimmy, and you're going to have to go sit at the college football playoff table and make a case for yourself.
Yes.
And you better be able to say, well, look at how many viewers I have, and look at your mom, and look at your cousin. They were watching our games too.
And look at all the portal acquisitions. Look at this. Look at that.
You better. And I don't think it's a slam dunk by any stretch of the imagination.
Nope.
I truly do not.
Not even a little bit.
I think it is going to be very interesting to see how all that plays out. Jake Retzloff in 35 minutes. Christopher Shannon says UCLA needs its own 50,000 seat stadium. They have to get out of the Rose Bowl, and they never will. Because, again, this dream. Do you know how bad it is when you make your emotions fight reality? Oh, UCLA, we are the Rose Bowl. Tradition, pageantry. One afternoon in January. Never from September to December. Right?
Yeah.
Very rarely is that place. The problem is the Rose Bowl is so big and you're so shitty, Chip Kelly, that nobody showed up to watch your games. So that place looked like a bunch of humans dressed as empty chairs. And it's embarrassing.
It is.
It is embarrassing.
No doubt about it, dude.
Danny Salazar, I think of Europe, college football relegation again. Okay, so if you're the Big Ten, are you going to vote for relegation?
No.
So Michigan, who's going to get drilled by the NCAA, they only win 3 games next year, let's say, or they have a terrible year. Are you really going to relegate Michigan? Somehow I don't see that happening. That, in my opinion, is the single reason relegation never happens. Because you're bound to have a down year. It's going to happen. Everybody goes through it.
Yeah, they do. They do.
That's why that's everybody's biggest fear. Everybody's biggest fear. And I love the idea, but I don't think it's going to happen. I truly do not. Steve Stepanek, the Big 12 better win it all with the 2 teams they get in. They better.
Yep.
And you better make a run, man. You better make a run. I totally agree with that. 100%. Bryce Martin, however, the reason the Big 12 has the perception of being a bad playoff conference is because OU got crushed so often. That's part of it.
True.
That is part of it. Pete Forte says, hopefully with the new coaching staff, there is a dream that was Rome. And Brady Hoke was not the emperor. He was not. He was far more communist than he was Maximus, right?
Yes.
Mountain Mama says someone was hanging on the side of a building. Dollar Bill reached out to save them and said, take my strong hand. Exactly. Christopher Shannon, Oklahoma State, irrelevant. And God love you in Stillwater.
But Monty, they went to the championship game. Come on.
But seriously, I continue to ask, how relevant is Oak State? But Monty, it's Ollie Gordon. How relevant is Oklahoma State? Didn't have a starting quarterback last year, but Alan Bowman, Heisman Trophy.
James, welcome back.
How relevant is Oak State? Does Oak State finish in the top 3 teams in the Big 12? Does Oak State go to the college football playoff in the next 3 years? 12, 12, 14. They go into the college football playoff.
I mean, they were number 2 last year.
And then
Texas showed up.
And that didn't work out so well. Chad Carter, like button, you scrubs hit it. Totally agree.
Thank you.
Totally agree. Where are we at? I know we're over 1,000 today. We are over 1,000 when you only have 32 likes. Let's go. If you're here watching the show, please hit the like button. That really helps the channel grow. Mike Smith, Utah has a superior offense to all. Yeah, well.
Yeah, wow.
Witt's got to recruit quarterbacks, man. I totally agree with that. Mike Smith says, do not rule out Gundy and the Pokes. Don't poke the mullet.
See what he did there?
Dakota says. Houston, Baylor, Kansas are national championship basketball programs. They are. But it'd be nice if Baylor had a coach who grew hair and won football games.
Program.
Right? Dana did not work out at Houston. And look what they paid Leipold in Kansas.
Yeah.
My God. Mike Smith, Big 12 fits with Pitt and Louisville. I agree. But Louisville's got to figure themselves out. They are bad at putting the ball in the hoop. They're not good right now. Jimmy Otson, good morning. Like 31. Come on, pick it up. Let's go. Bryce Martin, A&M and Texas would never sign off on Tech, TCU, Baylor to the SEC. I don't think they would.
Nope.
You know.
Good luck with that.
I don't think they would. But that's just my opinion. And again, what do I know? What do I know?
Okay, where are we at on Donnie Dump?
I haven't seen a Donnie Dump update. So I don't know if what the hackers did. Now, we probably won't hear this for a minute. So we'll see.
Donnie.
We'll see. I don't necessarily, it's going to take time if they post those documents. People will have to read them. But I have not seen a Donnie Dump yet. And hey, maybe they haven't. I mean, let's see if CNET's, because CNET ain't got nothing, man. CNET ain't got nothing, and I'm curious.
They ain't got nothing.
This hacker story is wild. Is it not bizarre that this is who we've become?
It is kind of weird. I will say that. Yeah.
You know, I think that's going to be it'll be very interesting to see how all this plays out. We'll keep you up to date. They threatened to release the documents 10 minutes ago. So I think it's a nothing burger. I think it's Russia, first of all. It's Russia. They're Russian hackers.
Yeah.
Are we really that worried that they have, election-changing information? I doubt it. I doubt it. Now, that's just my opinion.
I think that it's, again, and I know we got to hear all opinions on it, and it's good to hear the other side's, perspective, and we need to hear from Big Daddy Vladdy, but I would be surprised if these hackers had much.
I cannot believe Dakota Tubbs was like, we need to hear his perspective. We don't need to hear his perspective. Giggity, maybe Johnny paid the ransom, resulting in his request to only pay $100. Yeah, how about that? How about Donald Trump's attorneys going into court saying he's broke? He can only afford $100 million to appeal his case in New York. That's wild to me. Only
Trump.
Only. Armani white suit at the Garden was al dente. Okay. Mike Smith, do not trust any Russian info, no matter what side of the political fence it falls on.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
How about we got to hear his perspective, Monty?
But Monty.
Come on, Monty.
Come on, Monty.
You're better than that.
Come on. Tucker flew across the world. How are we not listening to this?
Dakota Tubbs, Jake, I'm going to hack your messages next.
Okay, Dakota.
Biggest surprise of the Big 12 offseason was the Aranda not being fired. Why, Baylor?
How?
Why? That's amazing to me. Does Baylor want to win football games?
Clearly not. Clearly not.
Like, I cannot believe, like, I am sitting here. We are on, leap year, February 29th, when you can get free Krispy Kreme donuts. And you're telling me,
dude, donuts would be gas right now.
you're telling me that Dave Aranda still has a job as the head coach at Baylor.
Somehow, some way.
That cannot be. Come on now. Glenn, how are you? San Diego State Aztecs. Good to see you. Conundrum says, speaking of dumps, the post-show offloading of freight is always epic. All right. Show the world all the two holes and James candid content. I want to see it.
Yeah, unfortunately, man, there's not much of it. It's a bunch of stories about food from different stadiums.
Sure as shit yesterday, we talked about Oak State. And actually, the truth is, we didn't talk about Oak State. We talked about the poaching players who weren't in the portal yet. And what does James do? He gets on Twitter. Monty, I told you. There were multiple schools who reached out to Ollie about transferring, and he wasn't in the portal.
Via social media.
I've got sources.
I've been told.
Yeah, trust me, bro. Bryce Martin, Louisville also has a natural rivalry with Cincinnati.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I feel bad for Cincinnati fan because Cincinnati fan is a passionate fan.
Stay hard.
Bless you.
The problem is you got fickled. It is what it is.
Kay Sumbry, what's up? I'm interested to see how the Big 12 does this upcoming football season. Huge. The next 2 years. I don't know. Am I making too much out of that? Are these next two playoff cycles not critically important? Like you,
yes.
I think you have to win games and you have to have people watching you on TV.
Yes.
It is so important. How many athletic departments are going to put out graphics on their socials about, hey, our game's going to be on Fox at 10 a.m. Make sure you tune in. Let's have watch parties at all of your different houses.
Mm-hmm.
Turn on your TVs. I got to believe that happens. I think it is incredibly important that you win big games and you put people on TV.
Yes.
I don't know how else you make your case to these these behemoths. Because remember, ESPN has a standing offer for billions on an expanded college football playoff.
Yes.
I think it's huge. Christopher Shannon, he's a good Christian man at a private Baptist university.
Yeah, right.
Mike Smith, James providing corn dog content from stadiums.
Oh, is that what we're calling it now? Corn dog content?
My guy, James, Oak State James, he's passionate about football stadiums, which is cool. He has a YouTube channel where he goes around and he talks about all the different stadiums and their renderings for rebuilding, and he reviews the concession stands, and him and his wife have a great time traveling around together. I think it's a really cool thing. But it doesn't relate to every college football story. Man, did you guys hear that the got caught talking to a kid before the portal? Well, the funny thing is the Horseshoe's got this unbelievable licorice stand.
Hey guys.
We get it. Conundrum. November equals playing for an AQ. It does. And I think part of the other thing that Greg Sankey talked about last time he was on Feinbaum, what does college football do with December?
Something different than we're doing now.
I don't know how you survive as a college football head coach in December. You've got signing day, you've got portal, you've got big games, practices, you're playing your bowl game. I think now you're going to be playing your conference championship games.
Yeah.
You've got recruiting, portal, sign. It's wild to me. It's wild to me. I'm telling you now, you need to open up more. And I don't know if it's unlimited portal windows. You can't have early signing day and the portal in the same month. And you're still got to prepare for big football games.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do it.
That's too much.
You cannot do it. You just can't. There's no way. Boyd Lake, speaking of old has-been supermodels, how about that cheating Giselle?
Dude.
Jake wanted to talk about this. Admittedly, I did not want to talk about this because Do you guys know this story? Here on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Don't forget Jake Retzloff coming up in 20. You and Jake?
Yes, dude. We're textually engaged.
Okay.
Yeah.
How the fuck else would you do this job?
I don't know. Did Giselle cheat on Tom Brady? I'll tell you in 15 seconds.
When you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. You deserve an advocate.
The Advocates at theadvocates.com, where you never pay out of pocket through their entire process. See, you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. So you can call them without worry of how am I going to afford this? You have so many other concerns. Your health, how are you going to pay your bills? Where are you going to get a new car? How are you going to recover from this situation? You shouldn't also be wondering, well, how am I going to afford somebody to fight for me? That's why the advocates have a business model where you do not pay them out of pocket. You do not pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. Very simple. So right now, today, and they're masters at workman's comp, masters at traffic accidents. Did you get into an accident with a big rig? I'm driving back from the Jeezy this weekend. I know it's shocking. There's forecast of rain and snow the entire ride home.
Hell no.
The entire ride home. Again.
Thanks.
With the crazy weather conditions in this country, it's not a matter of if, but when you find yourself in an accident, you better be ready to get with the advocates at theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an attorney live online right now for free, 24/7, 365, theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. So, Tommy and Jizzy.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, Giselle Bündchen. Going through it. Living life. Giselle's like, I really wish I could get into a leg bar with my jiu-jitsu coach. There are now rumors and reports that Giselle took the black belt from her jiu-jitsu coach while she was still married to Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And that caused significant fissures in their relationship.
Yeah.
Do you buy it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the exact
You do?
story, but a little bit. Yeah, I think that the thing that I can't get by is that, there's always been pictures of these two. He's always been around. He's always been available. And the problem is, Tom is doing Tom. Tom's a professional athlete. Tom's got responsibilities. He's gone all the time. So it doesn't surprise me that, this is a possibility. And we're not just talking about your average NFL player here. We're talking about someone who was dedicated to the craft, someone who spent, entire days at the facility repeatedly, like married to the game. So I don't even say I believe it from the sense that Giselle's a terrible person, but yeah, I mean, I do think that as a spouse to an NFL player, like you have to understand what you're signing up for on some level, And
Yeah.
I think it all goes back to the whole conversation we had about her wanting Tom to retire and her wanting Tom to give up the game to be home and to enjoy life together. And he refused to do that for a couple extra years. And I think that probably sometime in that window, that's when she'd had enough. And she did what she did. And that's why, to me, I'm like, yeah, this is believable. This is understandable. Like, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
I hope it's not true.
Same. I hope that she didn't do it, but the timeline, frankly, adds up.
But there's no excusing it if it happened. You were unfaithful or you were faithful. There's no in between. There's no such thing as, well, we were just making out. No. If this is in fact true, Tom Brady took so much heat and I think took a lot of blame. If it turns out that she got pinned by her jiu-jitsu coach, dude, come on. If he rear naked choked Giselle, I can't come up with any more analogies. If she cheated on him, that's unforgivable.
Yeah, if he went full top mount on her,
Full mount.
Yeah.
It's not top mount. It's just full mount. How
Okay.
do
Okay. I whatever.
virgin talk. My point is, I think as men, we get vilified in relationships. There's no doubt. We don't ever get the benefit of the doubt. Ask Trevor Bauer, right? Ask Matt Ariza. Ask anytime relationships and sex are talked about, the man is always wrong.
Tiger.
Well, he was wrong.
He was. Yeah.
We never get the benefit of the doubt. Tom Brady took a lot of heat for being married to the game, bro. How could you do that to such a hot chick? Well, it turns out he may not have done that. And she may have done that or done her jujitsu coach, whatever. I just think dudes take a lot of heat over this.
Yeah.
And I think it's wrong. And I'm not a fan of it. And I think,
Yeah.
it's fine. Stepanik says Rump Ranger.
Rump Ranger.
Rump Ranger. Okay. Whoa. Was that a Monty Show teaser? Nice. It was. It was. Conundrum. Giselle's personal trainer was training her. Mike Smith. Jizzy Giselle. Giggity. Giselle may be a cheater, but she's no has-been. See, like Tommy was a cheat. Now he's a has-been. Deflategate and Spygate and stuff. Okay. Trainer pulling a train. See what he did there?
Right.
See what he did there? You know. RJC man, good morning. Tom had cameras everywhere. She cheated. No way he leaves her without proof. Could be. Am I the only one who is surprised to see dudes? And this is a dude thing. I saw it on TikTok, so it must be true.
Right, of course.
There's an account on TikTok that just outs men cheating on their wives. And how did they get caught? You have a Ring doorbell, dumbass. Don't bring her in through the front door. How many do
What an idiot.
This one account is dedicated to Ring doorbell videos of men bringing their love interests, their flings, their side piece home through the front door on the Ring doorbell camera. How stupid are you?
Yeah.
I always bring her in through the side window. Anyway. The best part about my life is I couldn't cheat if I wanted to, and I don't.
Yeah.
I'm married to my queen.
Yeah.
Like, when am I going to do that?
I don't know, bro.
Like, do you guys realize yesterday night I left the house? I went and truth be told, oh my God, I almost hit. Oh, dude. I was driving and I almost.
What the hell does that mean?
Mrs. Monty's like, hey, I'm in a shitty mood. She's like, I'm in a shitty mood. I want a veggie sandwich.
I want my Sando.
It's like, okay, cool. Let's go do it. I left the house yesterday for the first time in 4 days. Drive over to the, whatever it's called, the Corner Bakery, this place, whatever, at the district. There was a line in the drive-thru at Jack in the Box. There were customers inside the store. I said, I'm not getting a sandwich. I'm going to Jack.
You did not.
Because they had it blocked off. It was just for training.
Oh. Damn.
Dude, I was like, oh
my God, dude.
Anyway.
I might get some Jack this weekend, man.
How did we, where was I going? Oh, I left the house for the first time in 4 days yesterday. Who? Where am I even going to meet a side chick? I don't have a Gumar. Where am I going to meet her? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
With all due respect.
I don't have a life. Steve Wolgamott Jr., Jake looked excited when you started talking about this issue.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for 2 days.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it on the show for 2 days.
Oh, what are you talking about, man?
I'm like, I'm kind of, it always leads to, and Jake's like, no, we should do it. Good topic. Good talker.
Hey, look here, man.
Kay Nurin, it's not always about the money. Sure it is. Steve says, cue up the song I'm in Love with a Stripper. Exactly. Yeah. Conundrum, Giselle has always appreciated a good schnitzel. Okay. Giselle, my schnitzel.
Okay.
All right. OG Gary, if you don't retire, I'm going to cheat on you.
His cock.
Essentially, if you don't stop playing football, Tommy, I'm going to get the D down in Brazil, which is allegedly maybe
macaque.
I still don't believe it happened.
No, I don't know, dude.
She does not strike me as such.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? And maybe
she doesn't strike me as a serial cheater, like someone who's always doing this stuff. But what it does,
well, she's not always doing this stuff. She's always doing that, dude.
Yeah, the trainer, right? She's always getting, she's always in yoga, and we get it, right? So she strikes me as someone who got frustrated with Tom and acted on emotion.
Tommy.
And was like, dude, I've had enough. I'm doing this. I'm over it. Tom is picking the game over me, so I'm picking someone else over him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I want to think it's not true. I want to think it's not true. What percentage do you put on truth or fiction? Fact or fiction here?
I'd say it's 60-40. It's true.
60-40. It's true.
Yeah.
You're on that side of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. I mean, she is. Come on now. I mean,
she's not in question. Like,
neither is he. He's a jiu-jitsu pro. He's a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Good for him.
I mean, yeah, I get it. Pretty people like other pretty people. Watch out, Monty. Giselle is a witch. She will cast a spell on you. Come on now. Pineapples all around for the Bradys. Okay. It's equality, especially because it was her people who put out that he left her for football. Excellent point. Brandon Butler, dudes get vilified when they cheat, but women get justified for doing it. Total double standard. Hundo P. That Mike Smith, that is why you got to be a backdoor man. See, like on the house, the back door.
Dude, bro.
There's no camera.
So-called experts
back there. Although I have a camera on my front door, my back door, my side gate, and my garage.
You got enough cameras? Jesus.
It's the world we live in. No one is perfect. It's hard to judge someone. If you cheat, you're not. I'm not. You don't get a second chance.
Yeah, and I'm not judging her. I'm just saying I think she did it. Like,
can Monty do that noise again of how he always went off the road? Psh. It's not going off the road, dude. It's fine. Gumar are us. Exactly. Maury Alvarez. I'm at Walmart picking up some bucked up while on our way to Indiana for a funeral. Oh,
damn, bro.
That, dude. Buckedup.com. Use a promo code Monty. Yeah. RJC, man, 80-20 true Trump effect, in my opinion.
What the hell?
You think it's 80% true?
I don't understand. What is the Trump effect?
Well, there was a conversation that Donald Trump has normalized infidelity.
Oh.
Which, sure, whatever. It's not Donald Trump who normalized it. But 80% you think that's true. You think that's true.
Yeah.
I'm shocked by that.
That's tough, bro.
I am really shocked by that.
Yeah.
I am surprised. We'll see. I don't know. I think it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. But that's just my opinion. But, Jake Retzloff coming up in 10 minutes. OG Gary. Monty also has cameras in the attic. I don't actually.
Right.
I don't know. I don't believe Giselle cheated. Maybe I'm hopeful. Maybe I'm hopeful
that they just parted ways and then the next day she was,
it's not like there's like porn of her and this coach, like, making babies.
Listen, they were doing a role in jiu-jitsu practice. All right.
Yeah. She was wearing a gi.
Yeah. There he is.
I don't know what.
In the comment section, James is here.
Oh.
He has arrived. Now, what are the odds?
James.
What are the odds that this is a stadium comment?
Pretty good. If I were Brady, it's not. I would have retired and spent time with Giselle. Why do you think Steve Letarte retired from being a crew chief? Please make a stadium comment. Do you think anybody knows Steve Letarte? That's worse than a stadium. I went to high school with his wife, Trisha. He made the right move. Bro. You
Okay,
I think
Google,
it's easy.
Let's Google Steve Letarte.
He's yeah.
Steve Letarte. Okay.
It's easy to say he should just give up the game he loves.
Yeah.
Do you understand the exhilaration that you get when you're the best quarterback in the world? Do you understand how great it is that existence is?
Yeah.
Injuries, sure. Tommy didn't have major injuries throughout his career. Now, Giselle outed concussions, obviously, but he had one major knee injury, right? He rode the wave of being the best quarterback in the world for over a decade. And you're just like, yeah, walk away from that. I don't think so.
That's tough, bro.
Let's also not forget that crypto bro, whatever his name is, who wound up going to jail. Let's not forget about that. Like, they lost all that money.
Oh, FTX.
Yes, to FTX.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of money to FTX, those two.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't think it's as easy as saying he should have walked away for his wife. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not that easy at all. Bryce Martin, Donald Trump normalized what we've had to active presidents get busted having affairs while in office. That's my point. Like, it's not Donald Trump. Everybody blames Donald Trump for everything. Sure, he's guilty of some things. Cheating on your wife and banging your secretary is not unique to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? Help Monica Lewinsky. Hello. The dress, that was Bill Clinton. And the thing that drives me crazy about this stuff, like the Donald Trump is poor thing. Donald Trump is not poor. Is he a billionaire? No, he's not. The guy can't come up with, he is struggling to find $100 million to appeal a case. And he owes over $500 million in that case. He's not a billionaire. But who cares? Is he rich? Yes. I don't give a shit. Why are we so singularly obsessed? Trust me when I say it's powerful men that we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many sex scandals have we talked about? Whether it's Trevor Bauer or whoever you want to point to.
Mm-hmm.
How many politicians? How many presidents of companies? How many Bill Gates? How many Harvey Weinsteins?
Yeah.
How many Jeffrey Epsteins? And how many Tiger Woods? How many powerful dudes bang porn stars, Donald Trump? Like, it's not unique to Donnie.
Yeah.
It's unique to powerful men who take what they want. That's our attitude in this country. I think the bigger issue is we view women as sexual objects instead of, human beings. Like, that's the issue. We are a sex-obsessed society. We are a porn-obsessed society. If you're a guy that sits around and watches porn, I'm telling you, you're unhappy and you're probably single. And if you are married and you're sitting around and you're watching porn, you don't have a good relationship. How can you possibly?
Yeah.
And it manifests itself in these scandals every single day. Every single day. Thank you, Rafa King of Clay.
Okay.
If the ACC and the Big 12 can guarantee themselves 2 playoff spots every year, they should jump at the opportunity. I think that they are jumping at that opportunity. The bigger question is what happens when it goes past 14 teams?
What's the price you pay for being desperate?
Because there's always a price you pay.
Yeah.
When you make decisions based on money, you're always making the wrong decision.
Mm-hmm.
Gigaddy. They parted ways, then the coach parted something else. Hey, man.
Damn.
I really hope she didn't cheat on him. Brandon Butler, Monty has the Teddy Wayman tracking system on his house, brought to you by ADT. Exactly right. Steve Stepanek, Monty has cameras above the bed in his ceiling fan. One will never know. Bryce Martin, like Kim K and Ray J. My God.
Bro.
Dude. Yeah. Steve Letarte was Dale. We know who Steve Letarte is, dude. We know. It's just, That's so on brand for you. That is so on brand for you. Giggity. So James took old Trisha under the bleachers in high school. That's what I'm saying. Hey, where are you in this world if you're like, hey, dude, do you know who Steve Letarte is, right? What do you mean you don't know who Steve Letarte is? He has T-shirts at Buc-ee's. What are you talking about? Well, anyway, Steve Letarte, he was a NASCAR crew chief for Hey Dale. And when I was in high school, I went to high school with his wife. Dude, let me tell you what, I changed her oil regularly under the bleachers.
Ain't no reset.
Dude.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Tom Brady can get any supermodel he wants, but the problem is, see, does Uncle Monty really have to do education of love and life? It doesn't matter if you can get any woman you want, if you can't have the one you really want. As I would agree, as men, we're carnivores, but there's always one. And Giselle was his one. And now she's out again getting rear naked choked by this dude in Brazil. Okay. Similar to assless chaps. What is wrong with you people?
See, the hyenas are now out in the chat, 100%.
Dakota Tubbs. James, we need a review of under our high schools. Thank you. Under our high. I agree. What are them bleachers like, man? Like, do you understand how tough it is to be Tom Brady? I think people just naturally assume that it's easy to be Tom Brady. First of all, do you know how hard it is to be a quarterback in the NFL? Do you know how difficult it is to be the best quarterback in the NFL for an entire generation?
Like 20 years.
I think this idea that he should have, and I guess I'm stuck on this. The idea that he should have just walked away from football and, well, Giselle told me to retire. That's cool and everything in theory. But again, it's out here in fairy dust land.
Mm-hmm.
You're not telling Tom Brady, hey, well, you don't need to go win another Super Bowl. What, you're going to Tampa to do what? Do you know how hard it is to win a Super Bowl? Do you know how hard it is? We're already trying to knock this guy down and say that he's not the best quarterback ever. We're already doing that. Yeah. And now we're out here in the Wild West saying, oh, well, his wife cheated on him with a jiu-jitsu coach. And you're hoping it happened. I'm telling you, I'm hoping it didn't happen. I'm hoping she never said you have to walk away.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. I don't know. I probably get obsessed with the comment section, but it's crazy to me. I feel like we're rooting now for Tom Brady to have been cheated on by Giselle because he wouldn't retire from football. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
This isn't Kim K and Ray J. This isn't Bill Clinton in the Oval Office or Donnie on the RV. It's a real guy. On the RV. It's a real guy and a real woman. It's a man and a wife who clearly were deeply in love. Yeah. Right? I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
And clearly in love. And we're like, man, I hope she cheated on him. Like, we're talking about 80% you hope it happened. What the? Like, what?
Come on.
Anyway. There and if oh, look, Jake Retzloff is here. Well, hello, Jake.
What's up, guys?
How difficult is it to be the best quarterback on earth for over a decade?
Wake up every morning, brush your teeth. I think that's about it.
Right? And it's crazy to me. So we're talking about this Tom Brady Giselle Bundchen story you may have heard. That she allegedly had an extramarital affair with a jiu-jitsu coach, whatever. And we go back to this thing where she was like, you have to retire from football. How difficult would it be if your wife said to you, Jake, you will not play another down of football or we're done? That's got to be impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, football was here before her and it will be here after her. So, yeah, football at least.
Oh, my guy. Dude. My guy. Let's go. Let's go. Better to win a football game or watch BYU beat Kansas the other night?
That was a heck of a game. I don't know.
Yes,
That was a crazy game. That was awesome to see that on the road. On the road was crazy.
Yeah.
Did you see the 200 students waiting at the airport for him? That was pretty sick too.
Yeah. What is BYU fandom like? Like, what are BYU fans like? Because now you're like I don't know if you know this, you're the starting quarterback at BYU. People are paying attention to what you're doing. What is it like to be the apple of the BYU fans' eye?
I was getting my acai bowl yesterday, and I'm just at the nutrition center where they got them, and this guy just comes up to me, just like he's like restocking something, or he's like, "Hey, dude, keep doing what you're doing, man. I love watching you play." And it's just like, "Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Like that's so cool." And I don't know, it's just out of nowhere and then unconditional all the time. That's the great thing about the BYU fans. It's just all the time. You never know when you're going to get some type of support, some type of love, and you know they're insane, and they're insane because they're just BYU fans, and they're insane and sober, which makes them even crazier.
Talking to Jake Retzloff, BYU quarterback, thanks to our friends at Big O Tires and American Fork. Big O Tires, your total car care experts. And I think it's really interesting that it is. Do you ever get used to that? I mean, again, we talked about it last week. You have your own T-shirts now. Like you're kind of a big deal. Like, do you ever get used to that? Has that even sunk in?
That's hard to. I don't think so. I don't know if I will ever get used to it. I'm just used to going out and playing football and then enjoying like going to a basketball game and stuff. And then you get like random people, you know, walking. If they walk up the aisle and see you, they'll be like, "What's up, Jake?" Like they know you. It's pretty funny, and it's pretty cool. And I'm just like shouting back, "Yeah, go Cougs!" You know what I mean? And so I don't know that I will get used to it. I'm not right now, and maybe I will. I don't know what that feeling is going to be like getting used to it. It's kind of surreal, kind of nuts to be just like, you know, that like important to other people, just like passing you by in the hallways of a basketball game or at any sort of event or something like that. So I don't know.
Was there a moment in high school when you were playing where you were like, all right, I got a chance to really go and do some special things at the next level? Because I think as high school athletes, we all, you know, aspire to have those moments. But for you, do you remember a moment when you felt that the first time?
When I knew I had a chance was like high school, my junior year. So my junior year, I was the third string quarterback because I was behind two returning starters who had started the year before. They're both seniors, so they're both older than me. And so I come in after my sophomore year. The biggest jump probably in my, you know, development was my sophomore to my junior year of high school. And so the coaches didn't really see me as a possible starter. And so I come in the first game, I'm just the backup and everything. We're playing Mater Dei, who's number 1 in the country. Cody Epps was actually on the other side of the field that day. And where we go down, create something ridiculous, like 35-0. Our quarterbacks are not getting it done. And Coach Logan, my head coach, he goes, "All right, Jake, you're up." I was like, "All right, let's do it." And no starters came off the field for either team. Mater Dei wanted to shut us out completely. And I went in there and I led the team to two consecutive touchdown drives back to back, and making throws to, you know, guys like Gary Bryant, who's at Oregon now, and hand the ball off to, you know, Nick Floyd, who's going to Utah State now after junior college. And so that leading those drives and be able to execute against a defense that, you know, is like that, has the intensity like that, that made me realize I was like, all right, I could do this. It's just about, to me, it was made the game simpler. Like, I think people tend to overcomplicate it. If I simplify the game as just driving on the field and scoring against these teams, then I could be a dang good quarterback. So that was kind of like that moment where I was like, all right, first of all, I'm better than the two guys ahead of me, which I thought I knew, but I proved to every other person. And then, you know, second of all, I was like, and I can execute this offense against one of the best team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that team went on to win a natty that year. It was them or Bosco, like every year. But
yeah, Mater Dei is massive. I don't think people understand Mater Dei. Like every sport, they're just gigantic. And I see, like that's the moment. That's why you play the game. You'll never forget those 2 drives. You'll never forget that moment. And I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting because not even shining you because you're on the show. I think this is that year for you. I think this is that transformative, take a big jump forward year where I think you become the centerpiece of every defensive scheme that you guys are going to see. And I wonder, you're going into spring ball now. Do you feel like you have put yourself in a position? Have you done the work? Have you made the effort? Have you done the little things you think you need to do to take that jump?
I think so. I was thinking about the other day, we have these little walkthrough practices where coaches are out, and it's basically like shirts and shorts, 40 minutes of practice pretty much. But it's a walkthrough. And so at the end, we run 18 plays against the defense in 2 different fields. So total of 36, but it's the same plays. And this offseason was my first offseason real training. Last year I was here in January, but I had a huge health issue. I had bad tonsillitis, which had a ton of complications. So I was out for a lot of winter workouts and about half of spring ball. And so I didn't have that. Whatever development I had, it was non-existent after the tonsil issue and stuff like that. So this offseason I've really been able to push the envelope and get better and get faster. And I'm already seeing a different athleticism on the field, to be honest with you. Like I circled our defense 2 days ago in our walkthrough on just a quarterback drop play and ran into the end zone. And so, I think you guys are going to see a different speed out of me for sure. I think I'm at a heavier weight and I feel lighter than I ever have, which would be dangerous when it comes to running against the secondary. And I'm just so ready to get going here. Today is it's leap day, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big day in football, big day in Provo when we get started for spring ball. And so, yeah, dude, I feel so different than I've felt in any year I've ever played. My development is the highest it's ever been. I'm running differently. Like, our strength staff is incredible. Those guys have dialed this up, and they put all the attention into the minor details that make a huge difference especially when it comes to running mechanics and acceleration and stuff like that, top end speed. And so just working with those guys every day this winter has just made a huge difference. And
have you seen a difference in the program strength and conditioning agenda, the way they go about? Because I mean, you guys have made significant changes in that area recently. I mean, and it's something that it's been talked about wildly at BYU for years now. Like, do you feel like that? I mean, I'm going to guess you're going to say yes based on what you just said, but how different is it for you?
Well, I showed up and the strength staff was, Spencer Reed and his staff. And obviously we ended up getting the new staff like kind of in the summertime. The weird thing about that is it was kind of late for them to start their own program in the summer, but we still had to keep working out. So, Coach Phillips and his staff didn't really have their program completely installed in us. And so it was kind of funky. It was like we were doing half, we were still doing workouts and stuff like that, but it wasn't like planned out. It wasn't, dialed in exactly what we needed to be. It was just working out and getting the things we could get done in that little time that we had. And so this year you can tell, like, they put so much planning, so much time into putting this program together. Like, I think people take it for granted, strength programs, because they can really make a huge difference in the team development. So yeah, obviously it's a huge difference. And you just feel like, all right, this has been a progression since day one. They've been working towards something. And I feel like I'm as close to that as I could have been this offseason, just putting in the work during workouts.
Yeah, and I think talking to Jake Retzloff from BYU here on the Monty Show, I think one of the things that's so critical is all of that physical stuff is really important. How are you feeling mentally, and because I would have to believe you have a much higher command of the offense now than you've probably ever had.
Yeah, no, especially like if I think about this time last year, I'm walking in like just trying to get every call right, let alone every scheme like down. And, now I've just made a huge jump in that personally, just understanding, like, when I get a play call now, I see a picture. I don't just think, okay, what do I have to do on this play? I see a picture and understand what's going on. So it's a big difference, from a year ago. And that's why I've been itching for spring ball for about a month and a half. So no, yeah, it's been a fun little journey to get here. And that time off was necessary, but I felt like, let's get back on the field obviously the season left a semi-bad taste in my mouth. I say semi-bad because obviously the record shows the last 2 games we should have won those 2 games, but like the semi-bad taste is because our offense started finally clicking. We started actually putting things together. We look like us. We showed what BYU offense has been in the past, and that's why I was like excited to get back to it. And so I'm ready to pick up where we left off.
Some folks don't think you guys are going to be very good. I don't know if you saw the rankings that came out. There are some people who I think don't value BYU on the field this year. And I wonder, do you guys pay attention to that stuff? Do you look at preseason rankings? Do you care?
For the most part, those guys have no idea what they're talking about to begin with. It's like if I threw darts at a dartboard to pick teams, it's basically what they do sometimes, it seems like. And so I don't know. I don't understand the take on our team. I don't know why they think what they think. I don't know. Did they just not watch the end of the season? I don't know. I don't care for that, for those people who rank those like that. I know they ranked us really low. I don't know how low, but I know it was really low. And I was like, it's whatever. You know what I mean? It's just more fuel to the fire. It's just something to think about. Like, all right, well, it's us versus everybody, I guess. You know what I mean? And it's our locker room, against whoever shows up on that field. And, the haters are going to hate, but it's just about, talking about Tom Brady, it's just about the man in the arena. And so we don't worry about that extra noise. If anything, it only brings us a little extra fuel. That's it. So,
well, I think the interesting part about that is, I think that's the current state of college football. And we talk about this all the time when you're on the show, but I don't love the idea that I feel like football is a PR machine now. I feel like that we're doing this 14-team playoff thing. And I feel like it's got to at some point be about September, October, and November on the field, right? And I think like the Utah game this year that we talked about last week, that's a massive football game now. Like I would imagine you guys have a clear understanding. That's a really important football game for you guys this year.
Yeah, that one's circled, of course, because that's the holy war. You can't ignore that one. But that's it. Yeah, there's not much to be said more about that. We understand that game.
Exactly.
We're just excited for it.
Before we let you go, let me ask you about spring ball. Like, what do you need to accomplish? Do you have, on a team level, on an offense level, do you have a clear agenda? What are you guys looking to accomplish here?
Well, I'll tell you what, the one thing that we are going to pride ourselves to be in this upcoming season is the most physical team in the Big 12. So instilling that physicality within our scheme is huge. And so you got to, in order to be able to instill that physicality, you got to know how to and know the offense and how you do that within our offense. And so really understanding that this season is going to be spring is going to be a good, journey for us. I think that, we just keep working on our offense and just keep getting the reps in is going to make a big difference. That's just the spring's a time for, like, you understand your chemistry, you understand all these different things. You got a lot of new guys in the off season, and you get to show them the ropes, you show them how we do things. And yeah, honestly, we're doing things differently this year. We have a different type of feeling about, going into this off season that I don't think we had that type of urgency last year. And so it's going to be fun to, push the envelope with that, and just kind of, getting with the guys. One thing that I know I'm going to value a lot is just getting with all those receivers, getting the reps with them, and every live rep in practice is going to be worth so much, and being on time with them. And so I know we're at a pretty good place right now, but I'm striving to be at a way better place when it comes to knowing where every guy's going to be at on the field in any given play. So I think that's a huge part of spring ball, along with, breaking guys in, and then just, new freshmen get to see what we got with the young guys, which is always fun. And we got some young chippy guys who got a little chip on their shoulder. It's pretty fun to see them and talk to them in the hallways and stuff. We got some young cats who are ready to go, especially like on the defensive side of the ball. So we're excited to see that.
Jake, on a more lighthearted note, obviously your interview is brought to you by Ryan at Big O Tires. We advocate for Ryan, the great job that he does, but I know that you've worked with him. I wanted to hear you just kind of talk about your experience with him because, obviously he sponsors the show. We can tell people for days, but I wanted to hear you kind of just talk about your experience with him.
Yeah, shout out Big O Tire. Shout out Ryan Eldridge over there. The dude's awesome. His family's incredible. That's a guy who helped me out when I came to Utah. Like I have car issues, and I saw somebody post about them, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go check it out and see what he's about. And that guy has helped me so much. He got me in some tires that could survive in the snow. He checks that he got. He got my car right and stuff like that, and he's constantly like checking up too. That dude's a great dude. Like he's always looking out for not just me, the guys overall on the team too, and he's just a pro about what he does. He's got a great little thing going on over there in American Fork, and I'll drive past 5 different Big O Tires to get to him because he is him up in American Fork. He's the guy. So shout out Ryan, shout out the family. I know he's got 2 little wrestlers he got running around the house, and so those got a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Ryan at Big O Tires. Go check him out. Tell him you heard about it from Jake Retzloff and the Monty Show. Before I let you go, so I understand there's some golf ability. Like, what's your golf game like these days?
Well, I'm out of practice because I haven't been on a course since like the summer, so I got a lot of work to do to get back. I got to go hit a range. I mean, the weather's been incredible. Knock on wood. This off season, I was here last winter for my first winter here, and it was snowstorms through like April and May. I was like, what is this? And so, yeah, I'm excited. I got to get out there. I know it's going to be another great day today. I obviously got spring ball going and won't overdo it myself. But if I get a Saturday or a Sunday where I could just go out there and swing it, I'm excited to.
Yeah, we're going down to St. George this weekend to play a little golf, watch a little sports activities with the friends and stuff. Yeah, I'm out of practice too. Yeah. I can't wait for if we could have Los Angeles weather in Utah. I miss my SoCal 70 and sunny. If we could have that every day in Utah, Jake, life would be so much easier for golfers.
It would be awesome. It would be incredible.
Well, hey man, have a good kickoff to spring ball. Always appreciate you. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
All right, appreciate you guys.
You bet. There's Jake Retzloff. Make sure you find him on Instagram. Get his BYU t-shirt. I think it is the best t-shirt. It is. And I know I say that every week he's on the show and he probably thinks I'm a weirdo for it, but I'm telling you right now, go get the BYU t-shirt. Go support Jake. Go to Big O Tires in American Fork. They support the show. They support Jake. You need to go support Big O Tires in American Fork. Get on Instagram. Thank them. Just write a note on Big O Tires American Fork, their Instagram page. Write on one of their posts. Hey, thanks for having Jake Retzloff on the Monty Show. Because I think his insight brings you inside of Big 12 football. And I think today's a big day at BYU. We talk about the rankings. I think it was 247 was one of the ones I saw that had them second to last, only in front of Houston, which I think is crazy.
I do. I think people don't put enough value on the quarterback situation last season and like what
and
Jake
how
had
that
to
quarterback
deal with.
situation came together last season.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Jake is.
I do think, based on what he said in these interviews on the show, like it does seem like there is some expectations inside of that program. Like last year, like he's kind of hinted at it a little bit, but I feel like, they are not amused with what happened last season, and they have some, expectations. And I don't know if that, comes to fruition in terms of like a win total or like what that looks like in specifics. But I just think that there's some disrespect when you're going to put BYU second to last in the conference.
That's wild.
When they've finally got a full-time starting quarterback who, excluding any type of injury concern would be in a great place to lead them. So it's surprising for sure.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. All right, couple of things we need to talk about. We need to talk about this national anthem. Did you guys see this national anthem last night? Was it last night? I hope it was last night. Recently, with the Indiana Pacers.
Stripes and bright stars round the perilous fight for the ramparts we were.
What is this?
This is worse than Fergie. Watch the players.
He's playing it will end.
go.
Oh my God. God almighty. If you're a player, are you just like, make it stop?
I think you're trying to get through it without laughing on camera. We get it. We get it.
Well, here comes the big ending. Listen.
Okay.
One of those things where you're like, okay, this is not the player's fault. The player got overexposed. They were never good enough to start at third base.
Yeah.
This girl should never have been put in that situation.
In a flag dress at an NBA game.
This is not her fault, right? Can we all agree this is not her fault? How bad that was.
Dude.
Is that the worst national anthem we have seen in some time?
Has to be.
It has to be one of the worst ever.
Dude.
Yes, Glenn. Wow. Horrendous.
What are we doing?
Horrendous. Stepanik, she needs to stay in the bathroom and sing in the mirror. Exactly right. Exactly. Yes, Glenn. Wow. Comment. Hold on. Slow down. Where's Roseanne Barr? She'd be a very slight step up. Remember that? Wasn't that in San Diego? Grabbing her crotch and my God. Mike Smith, Mama says not to be mean, but I wonder if that little girl has some mental issues. If not, can you imagine her getting ripped at school the next day? How? Chris E. Good morning, Chris. I like Fergie's updated performance, right?
Dude.
It's so bad. Dakota Tubbs. Oh no, she's proud too. She'll love this when she's older or not. No.
Damn.
No. Gary, put her up for adoption. That is child abuse, though. That is child abuse. Nothing on Aretha. Sorry, exactly. Mike Smith, William Hung. She bangs, she bangs. She moves, she moves. No, she doesn't. She does not bang. That was some. What is Kadarius say? Some cap ass shit. There you go. Does it slap?
Y'all reading all this cap ass
right?
shit.
Definitely needs to be on the Magic school bus.
Damn.
Somebody's kid. It is somebody's kid. Exactly, Glenn. Blame her mom.
Yeah, that's what's going around Twitter is that the parents need to be slapped.
It's not a Make-A-Wish. Stop it, Fetch. If it's a Make-A-Wish, I'm a horrible person.
Okay. Dude, what is this? Amazon train driver who's deaf in his left ear? Like, come on.
That cannot be a Make-A-Wish. Please tell me that is not true. Mr. Ohio says, my wife's in the other room. She's like, what the hell was that? A dog being euthanized, which I shouldn't joke about considering I just had that happen. Mike Chase, at least the little girl had the guts to do that, but that was horrible. Yes, exactly. Conundrum, homeschooled, no doubt. Wow, a homeschool bomb. Was she a Make-A-Wish?
I'm struggling to confirm it.
God, I hope that's not true. Yes, it does take a lot of guts to do that. It does. Sergeant Green, my ears are bleeding. Fingernails on a chalkboard is more pleasant.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
And finally, it is leap year. And Krispy Kreme would like to give you donuts.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get a bunch of free stuff.
Is Krispy Kreme still top notch in the donut game, dude? Like, like if you're getting donuts, are you like, damn, I got to go to Krispy Kreme? Like, is that the first, No, don't do that. Don't do that. Different tab. Different tab. Is Krispy Kreme still top of the mountain, dude? Like,
was it ever top of the mountain?
Oh, I think there was a time, right? I mean, wasn't there a time? Like, I remember as a kid, like, the white box, green letters, red little line under it. Like, I remember a time. But
you get a dozen donuts at Krispy Kreme today for $2.29. Buy any regularly priced dozen. Get another dozen for $2.29. I don't. Krispy Kreme's not good. There, I said it.
Damn.
I don't think their donuts are out of this.
Okay, what kind of donuts do you like around here? What's your?
I don't eat donuts.
Yeah, I know it's the hard part.
We almost never.
We went to, I think it was it Duck Donuts? I think around here.
Yeah, somebody had us. You want to have a donuts delivered to us today? That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But somebody delivered donuts to us like a year ago or more than that now. I haven't had a donut.
What about like grocery store donuts though? Because sometimes those are pretty good.
Harmon's has good donuts.
Yeah.
I think we had the pink box donuts. Over Christmas or something.
Those weren't bad.
They're just not good.
Yeah,
but I will say I did have a blueberry fritter over Christmas. That was
dude, blueberry donuts are gas.
Blueberry donuts are gas.
Undefeated.
But I'm an apple fritter fan.
I'm for real.
Blueberry fan. But the problem is you're a weirdo. You're the guy that likes maple bars.
I love maple bars. Love an old fashioned. Yeah, love a straight chocolate donut.
Maple bars are disgusting.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
And I generally like caramel maple things. Maple bars are disgusting.
Okay.
Terrible. Are you just like a chocolate glaze guy? Like, what is your
I love my go-to for donuts is blueberry. 100%. That's on another level. That's above maple bars, above anything. I love a good blueberry donut.
Yeah.
But other options below that, if blueberry is not available, are the maple bar. I like the traditional circle donut that is all chocolate, not just chocolate on top, but like a chocolate donut.
Yes, Gary. Dunford Bakery and Bradbury Cross are the best in you. Dunford Donuts.
Dunford is amazing, dude.
The double chocolate Dunford donut.
Yeah.
Dakota Tubbs. I've got a guilty pleasure for their glazed donuts with chocolate frosting. Conundrum Truck Stop Donuts. Maverick has good donuts. I haven't had one in years. San Diego State Glen, Krispy Kreme. Nope. I go to local small business owned donut shops. Apple fritters are epic.
Yeah.
Donuts are too many calories. And I don't generally eat added sugar. So I don't eat, we rarely have a candy bar or like now I'm into pistachios when I'm playing golf. I eat raw pistachios when I play golf now.
Yeah.
But donuts are good. You know, Monty loves his cougar tail.
Yeah.
This season, if we go to a BYU game, we've got to get a cougar tail.
Have to.
Conundrum. Giselle's trainer had her fritter. Bear Claw, Stepanik says. Bear Claws are good. Buckeye Donuts, #1. Never had them. Matt Ritson says 7-Eleven donuts.
Nah. We used to do that too. When we would go to Tahoe.
Yes.
We used to do that.
Yeah. Mom and pop joint right near us called Donut Connection. Okay, Chrissy.
Dude, if you owned a donut shop, how bad for your health would that be?
I'd be dead already. I like regular glazed donuts. I don't eat donuts anymore due to cutting sugar out of my diet. Chris, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Stepanik, my favorite is a cream-filled Boston cream in a donut.
Who are you, Giselle?
Maple bars are underrated. Stop it. Why? Why does everything have to be about sex with you?
What do you mean?
Grow up. You know what Giselle's nickname for Tommy is? Boston cream pie, baby. Maple bars are underrated. No, they're not. Jolly Pirate #2. Okay.
Okay.
Cinnamon twists are the way to go. Cinnamon twists are good. James, Oak State James. Cougar Tail, best donut ever. Delaric, Krispy Kreme are only the best the first 5 minutes after it's finished.
Yeah, there is something to that. Absolutely.
Yes, Brandon Butler. Bavarian cream or an apple fritter. Bavarian cream is to die for. Stop it. Damn right, Brandon Butler. Fat Jesus, unglazed, old-fashioned, or toasted coconut. Yes.
Unglazed old-fashioned is pretty good, too.
Dakota. Oh, whoa. Comment dump. Dakota says, my wife loves it when I make her a cream-filled Long John. San Diego State Glen, Cougar Tails from Donut Man near us. Donut Man, Glendora, California.
Yeah.
I have been. I used to live right down the street from Donut Man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Steve Stepanik, I don't eat donuts because I'm a diabetic. Damn right.
Damn.
Brandon is right. Bavarian cream is fantastic. And finally, Matt Ritson, plain donuts. Okay. That says a lot about who you are as a person. Well, plain donuts are fine.
Yeah.
Are you a coffee dipper of your donuts?
No, I don't drink coffee, bro.
I don't drink coffee.
I don't drink coffee. Bro.
Although Mrs. Monty made some hot chocolate the other night.
Oh, hot chocolate's different, bro. I'll take hot chocolate all day.
She's been hiding the mini marshmallows. She made us hot chocolate with marshmallows the other night.
So good, dude.
So good. Not as good as the Advocates at theadvocates.com, where you never pay a penny to talk to one of the best injury attorneys online. Hook it up, theadvocates.com. Workman's comp, car accidents, slips and falls. If you've been hurt in an accident, you need the Advocates. Hey, if you got hurt at work and your company, your employer has an attorney for you, that's great. But who do they work for, you or your company? And if you go to the Advocates and say, hey, here's what they're telling me, and if they're telling you right, they're steering you straight, the Advocates will tell you that. But what's the likelihood of that? Talk to an attorney. It costs you nothing. You absolutely have zero risk involved in it. Theadvocates.com, where you can talk to an attorney live online and it won't cost you a dime. Theadvocates.com. Until Monday, we're off tomorrow. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.